Alright guys, well I'm back today with a brand new 22 long rifle pistol offering from Beretta, the 20X Bobcat, and this particular version is the Bug Out Bag edition. I absolutely love 22s, I love Bobcats, so this was a no-brainer to try out on the channel. A huge shout out to Beretta for sending this out to the channel at my request. I greatly appreciate it. Now, I would consider myself more of a mouse gun or 22 long rifle pistol collector, and the Bobcat really fit that bill perfectly. I've got a ton of variations, including some of their newer threaded versions, but this is the latest iteration that's been redesigned in a few different areas, but still really draws off the inspiration of the original Bobcats. We're going to be talking about the specs and features of the new variations, comparing it to the old variations, and talking about its placement in my modern day arsenal of why I personally like something like this in my collection. One of the first things I want to discuss is the fact that this has a threaded barrel and raised sights. So when you put a can on the end, you put this in your hand, you absolutely feel like James Bond. I remember many summer nights with my buddies in 99 through about 2002. We'd run around the neighborhood playing James Bond, pretending we were spies. And this just really reminds me, when you throw a can on there, how quiet it is and how cool it feels. It just brings me back to those days of watching those James Bond and spy movies. Now, this is going to be the Bug Out Bag version, and I love the fact that they've called that this, because that actually would be a great application for this pistol, especially with the fact that it's got a threaded barrel. We're going to be talking about the specs and features of this, but before we do, I want to give a huge shout out to Target Sports USA for helping out with the ammo. They have a wide variety of CCI, and that's mainly what I ran through this gun, and we'll talk about that in the reliability section of this review. But Target Sports USA and their Ammo Plus membership service has been a longtime supporter of the channel, and I can't thank Target Sports enough for helping out with this particular video. Now let's talk about the basic specs and features. I'm going to start with the mag on this one because it is a newly redesigned all-polymer magazine. Now that's definitely going to lighten the weight of the overall feel, and these magazines give you added capacity over the standard. These ones hold 8 rounds. Now, this is not the best micro 22 pocket pistol when it comes to capacity. There are some other on the market that hold 10 rounds at similar sizes, but the 8 rounds is not bad, and it's definitely better than what you got with the original Bobcat. The other thing is the mag release button has shifted to a more reasonable position. To load the mags, it's still just like the other Bobcat. No large funnel or anything like that. You're not doing tactical reloads with something like this in a hurry, but it does the job. No real complaints. Now, the mag button is located right there where your thumb is. You have to break your grip a little bit, and to get the mags to lock into place, you kind of have to give them a slight oomph. Now, the grips are super ergonomic. Love the G10 feel. Texture's where it needs to be. Nice beaver dale to protect your hands from hammer bites, and the safety on this is very easy to actuate, and it's extended. Let's take a look at the original safeties right here. It's more of a nub, and it's not quite as easy to put on and take off. This one is much more intuitive, much easier to work, but you still don't have to worry about accidentally bumping it off. It works out incredibly well. So right off the bat, we've got a redesigned mag location, redesigned mags, and a redesigned safety, and all of them are improvements over the original Bobcat, and I love the feel on these. They just work. Everything is intuitive. Everything feels nice. The other redesigned feature when it comes to controls is going to be the tip-up barrel release. This is a spring-loaded tip-up barrel with a push-button action rather than the slide action of the original tip-up barrel. Also, this one feels just a little bit more natural, and you're not going to get it confused with the mag release because it sits up so much higher. You're going to drop down like normal to drop that mag, and you're going to reach up to tip up that barrel. Now, the tip-up barrel design on this is going to be very similar to the previous iterations, and what that allows is for people who can't necessarily rack the slide, it allows you to load the gun completely without ever forcefully racking the slide. That can be difficult for some people. So you would load the magazine, as you've seen in the intro, insert it into the gun. Once it's securely into the gun, you can depress the button, Safety can still be on this entire time. Load that final round, lock it into place, and now you are ready to go. This will instantly be in double action mode if you follow that manual of arms. You can flip off that safety, and now you're in double action mode. You've got a fairly long double action take up, but on the new 20Xs, you actually have a 35% reduced trigger spring weight. So it's going to be a reduction in pull weight on that trigger, and it just feels a lot better than the original Bobcats. One thing I thought about those original Bobcats is you do a lot to eliminate the fact that you need strong hands to operate the gun when it comes to racking the slide with the tip-up barrel, but then you put a very heavy trigger weight on there, and it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. With this, it's a lot smoother. It's a really nice take-up, skeletonized flat-face trigger, and then the single action mode on this is super smooth. Really nice take-up, hits a defined wall, you've got a crisp break. Now, the fact that this is a 22, I really don't want to dry fire at a bunch on camera and damage the firing pin. You never want to do that with 22s. Now, with other centerfire cartridges, that's going to be good to go. The slide itself is very similar to the originals. There's not going to be much of a difference other than the obvious, the threaded barrel and sights. And that makes a big difference in the bug out version. And that's where I feel like this gains its practicality for me. Throw a can on the end, a micro can like this one, or the larger one that I was using in the intro of the video, and both work out great. You don't have to worry about kind of tilt lock barrels because this is a fixed barrel, so you can throw whatever can you want on and know it's going to work. Even if it's absurdly large for the handgun, it'll still run. Now, it functioned great. It was super quiet. It ran 100% reliably with and without a can using 40 grain CCI, whether it was the mini mags or standard velocities. And with the standard velocities, this thing was super quiet. Again, lending to those James Bond 007 feels when you pick up this pistol. The suppressor height sights do an amazing job of being well over the can and being functional, which is pretty darn cool. Anti-glare serrations on the rear sight and then a white dot on the front. Love the sighting configuration of this pistol when it works out pretty good. Slides right in your pocket, although it is going to be heavier than some other pocket 22s on the market. It does a good job of filling that pocket gun role, but more importantly, it fills the role of being an absolutely freaking awesome 22 long rifle pistol. Now, for me personally, I could see this being leveraged in some type of bug out role. 22 is super lightweight. You can throw a couple hundred rounds literally in your pocket. You can't say that about any other cartridge, really. Maybe 22 mag or 5.7 or something like that, but you can throw hundreds of rounds of 22 in your pocket, throw a couple of these lightweight mags, throw a micro can on the end, and still put this whole gun in your pocket or in the maybe in your purse or inside a small pack, and you're good to go with a really silent blaster. If the zombies pop up, you're going to be good to go with something like this. Does it have practical applications? I think it does. I think for people who are going to have weak hand dexterity, have arthritis in their hands, and need a tip-up barrel design, this is going to be the best, in my opinion, most reliable tip-up barrel that I've utilized. And the reliability on this 20X is going to be better than I've seen on the reliabilities of the 21As and some of the other Bobcats, because the newly redesigned gun just feeds better. I don't know if it's the magazines. I feel like the magazines of the previous version were some of the linchpins of reliability. I would notice that some mags would work better than others. This one seems to be a lot more reliable. Now, for me, I'm going to run better ammo through this gun. Some of the bulk pack may give you reliability issues. I honestly didn't try it. I noticed that the bulk pack gave me reliability issues with the original Bobcat, and when I switched to CCI, it was 90% reliable. On the new 20Xs that they've just released, it has been 100% functional, no issues whatsoever, suppressed or unsuppressed, mag after mag after mag after mag. It was just too much fun to shoot with 100% reliability with 40 grain CCI mini mags and then 40 grain CCI standard velocity. Again, a huge shout out to Target Sports USA for helping out with that. Probably ran close to about, I'd say, 500 to 600 rounds through this for the initial video. It was just too much fun to shoot, and it worked out great when it comes to reliability. I absolutely love this Bobcat. It is definitely going to be something that is unique, different, and interesting. It's also not the cheapest tip up in the world, but if you're looking to grab one tip up 22, the new Bobcats are where it's at, in my humble opinion. Again, I'm a little bit of a fanboy because I love the Bobcats. I've been collecting the Bobcats and Tomcats for a while, so when this new iteration come out, I was super pumped and actually just really pleased at how functional it is for 2025 with a tip-up barrel design. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.